Hey everyone, Gunnar here from Gunnar and Rach, and I just wanted to take a short minute, share with you a little bit about how we were able to record the last cover we did called The One That Really Matters right here in our house. So I want to show you real quick some of the gear that we use almost every single time we do a recording. I mean, that last cover we did was just us singing and playing the piano. So here's a little bit of what we use every single time. The first, of course, is the computer. I have the 2017 15-inch MacBook Pro, and this is the computer that I use for all my recordings and things like that. On the MacBook Pro, I use Logic Pro X. So if you go to the App Store on your Mac product, so it has to be an iMac or a MacBook, Apple owns Logic Pro 10 or Logic Pro X. And so that is the main DAW. DAW stands for Digital Audio Workstation. That's the DAW, the software I use to record and to edit my recordings. If you don't have a Mac and you have a PC, you're probably going to look at trying to maybe get a software like Cubase, even like Pro Tools and Ableton. You really have a full spectrum of price range there as well when you kind of get into the Pro Tools and the Ableton. But there are softwares out there that you can use if you have a PC. But if you want to use Logic Pro 10 or Logic Pro X, you would have to use an Apple product like a MacBook Pro or an iMac. I use Logic Pro 10 because I also use MainStage for live gigs as well for my keys. The computer is the important thing. I recommend at least 16 gigabytes of RAM. You can get away with an 8 gigabyte RAM computer to run some of these softwares, but I really would think you would enjoy it and invest a little more time and resources if you can get a computer with at least 16 gigabytes of RAM. Really doesn't matter what kind of hard drive that you have. I actually have the 500 and some number hard drive in this computer. I don't have the full terabyte hard drive. I actually save most of my projects on external hard drives anyways and back them up. I really just want a hard drive large enough to hold my sound library. And so the sound library is just all the different sounds that I'm able to use whenever I plug in my MIDI keyboard. That's a little bit about the computer. I'll post a link at the bottom of this video about options of Mac products, and so Mac of all trades. There's some great used resources. I don't know the last time I bought a brand new Mac. And so the second thing, and probably one of the other most important pieces of your setup, is going to be your audio interface. And so I actually am using the Focusrite Claret 4Pre. So Focusrite has had just great gear for both the recording industry as well as the live music industry. They've been selling and just kind of making top-of-the-line gear for just years now. This wasn't obviously the interface I wanted to start off with, but because of my budget, I found that this was the best interface for me at the time. I paid, I think, a little over or right around $500 for this interface. I'm honestly not quite sure what it runs now. I wanted at least 4 channels, and so the most famous probably Focusrite interface that you'll find on the web is going to be the 2-channel Scarlett Focusrite. Again, just 2-channel, 2 inputs. You can plug in a microphone or you can plug in a guitar and record with that. But like I said, I wanted more than 2 because I wanted to be able to record and sing with Rachel as well as be able to play a guitar with maybe a mic and be able to plug it in at the same time. So I knew I wanted at least 4 channels. Focusrite Claret, I love this interface, has great mic pre's. The whole point of the interface is not just your mic pre's, but also your AD conversion. So this is what's taking the analog, the microphone, the guitar, it's taking that signal, taking that analog signal, and it's actually sending it to the computer. How it does that? Well, I have USB Type-C, which is our newer USB type now that mostly everyone's using. That just plugs from the back of this interface and into my computer. And so this is one of the most important pieces because it is converting your audio. And so as well as your mic pre's as well. I can plug in a couple sets of headphones and I can record up to 4 channels at a time. And so these are the main 2 pieces right there. Again, computer and your audio interface. So the third thing I want to show you right now is how I played the piano, and I did not use the real piano right here on the wall. I actually used this little guy. This right here is my 61 key MIDI controller, and I'm using the Akai Professional MPK2 61 key. And so this is a MIDI controller. I can use this to control my Logic Pro 10 when I'm in there recording, but I really actually mainly use this for live gigs. So I also use MainStage, which is also an Apple product. I use MainStage for my live keys rig setup, and so I actually purchased this MIDI controller after weeks of researching MIDI controllers, and I knew I wanted to upgrade. I knew I wanted some on-board parameters to be able to control rather than getting a second device. And so after a lot of digging and a lot of research, I still wasn't settled, and then I got a cool phone call, cool opportunity. I played with some folks from Bethel Music, and they needed a keys player and a guitar player, and so I got the opportunity to do that. So about an hour before the sound check, I ran over to Blues Angel in Pensacola and bought this thing on a whim, and love it. One of the probably worst financial decisions, but best decisions musically I've ever made. And so as you see, what looks pretty complicated for the recording is very, very simple. And so really all I'm using on this keyboard is 2 things. As you look here, it's got a couple outputs. One plugs in my sustain pedal, and the other one, as you see, you have a couple MIDI things here, but the cable I use primarily is USB. As you can see, it looks like a standard USB out for like a printer, basically anything USB nowadays. That's what I'm using. And this USB just plugs straight into the computer, and that's how I'm getting my sounds. My computer has a library of sounds, and I just select the piano I want to use, make a couple of tweaks, and then I can immediately start recording MIDI piano, and that's as simple as that. So that's how I'm doing that with the piano sound. Finally, I want to show you a few microphone options that we use about every single time we record. So the first one is the Bluebird. I believe you can get this mic for about $300. Again, all of these mic options are under $500. This one is about $300 brand new. Just probably one of the leading microphones for its price range right now. And so again, if you're really wanting to just do some budget-friendly home recordings, I really recommend you checking out the Bluebird for if you're a vocalist, if you are trying to just do some podcasts, or if you're trying to record an acoustic guitar. Incredible microphone, very versatile. You can really just use it on about anything. The second mic I want to show you is the Behringer B2 Pro. This is an incredible microphone. I want to say the last time I checked it was about $200. Might be a little less there than that. I'm not quite sure, but I will post a link to this mic as well in the description. This mic is really great because it's very versatile. You can actually do a lot of different things with it. It has the high pass switch option, so you can cut out all the low noise. Maybe your AC is running, like mine's running right now. You can lower the decibel range down to -10 dB, as well as you can adjust the polarization. For example, you can record on both sides of this microphone. And so if you wanted to maybe just to stick this mic up on a mic stand, maybe put it in the middle of your room, you could actually do that. This is a very, very hot microphone, pulls a lot of detail out of your recording. Almost too much for vocals in my opinion. I really like this mic on and around drums and percussion instruments. But a great mic, you can really use this on about anything as well. Finally, the last microphone, probably one of the world's famous microphones in all the world, is the OG Shure SM58. Any recordings that me and Rachel do kind of live that we want to do together, singing at the same time, with a couple other things happening, we just go to these simple bad boys. And so for about $100, again, you've probably, if you go to church somewhere, there's a good chance these might be in a cardboard box in a closet. I mean, these have just been around forever, and they're really easy to get your hands on. Very inexpensive, but great dynamic microphones. You can use them to sing into. And so this is really what we do. We sing out of these at church, at Pine Terrace. We use these for our podcast at Pine Terrace. We just use these for just about anything as well. I've actually taken this cap off. I've actually taken this cap off, and now, as you can see, it actually looks like an SM57 dynamic microphone. I've actually just taken the cap off and used it for other things as well, like guitar amps and snare drums, things like that. And so there's kind of ways to work around some of that. Basically, somewhat the same microphone. But again, if you're wanting to sing maybe with some friends, or just one other person, you can easily just grab a couple of these, put them on some mic stands, some boom stands, and easily sing into these microphones and get a great recording. Those are really just kind of I've got more microphones, but really the 3 under $500 that we use almost every single time. So finally, that's really about it. As you can see, you're probably looking at what are these two speakers here behind me. Those are just my reference monitors, and so whenever we're recording, after we've kind of tracked everything, and I want to kind of start editing and mixing things, these are just my reference monitors. These are a really important part of your mixing process. I recommend you kind of doing some research. I've actually mixed on 3 different types. I haven't done a whole lot of mixing on different types of speakers. I kind of like, when I find the pair that I really like and I can work well with, I try to stick with them. I've recorded on some passive speakers, basically meaning you need an amp to power them. I've mixed on 2 different sets of powered monitors. What's it called? Oh yeah, the M Audio BX5s. Great little monitors, very budget friendly, and these are the Yamaha HS7s. These are probably a little too big for this room. Probably the best ones for this room would be the HS5s, but they're just what I know. You can easily grab a pair of monitors. There's different brands. I'll attach the link to those in the description as well. You can check out if you wanted to set up some speakers on your desk so you can have some playback. And so that's really about it. That's really about all the gear I use, and it's not a whole studio setup. You can easily make some great recordings if you're looking to record some music during this quarantine season in your home. I would just encourage you, find a room that you can dedicate your creative process to. Again, your computer, your interface, some microphones, and if you're a musician, if that's a guitar or keys, get you a MIDI controller. You can easily find M Audio MIDI controllers where all you can do is just play keys that you can plug into your computer and play out. Attach those in the description as well. You can go straight to them for very, very cheap. They've worked great. I've recorded on them for many years. And that's about it. So I want to encourage you to subscribe to this channel if you like this video, and if you would like us to kind of share a little bit further how we do our recording process and anything like this video. Again, subscribe to this video, share it with your friends, give it a thumbs up, look at the description for any and all of this gear that I talked about and many more. If you have any questions, let us know, and we can't wait to see you again. See you.